asking to,
So the deal is that, so whenever there is new areas on the ground, you're going to get it all.
okay,
You simply are.
Yeah.
And there has to be an attack up front that also is ongoing for at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
You simply can't just assume that there's one.
okay, I'm not gonna join from my revision because that causes the problem.
Right after you're, kind of reclamating the sites of wherever you made disturbances, I guess you're good.
Yeah.
That is the way it works.
That's just the way it works.
You got to stay.
Yes.
For a couple of years, with, with those things, you're so often.
Hey, nice. There you go. Take a seat anywhere in the table, and if you could sign yourself in right there.
Okay.
Negative critique on anything anybody does, it's just simple.
Okay.
It's just, it's a holistic approach to making sure that it doesn't get out of control. So, because, when there's been a lot of disturbance and a lot of roads made, a lot of different things where there's been all that on the side. The main thing up front is that there isn't anything else holding the slope, get us and occupying the space. So those weeds come in. But the second thing is that once those things do sprout, right there, the first couple of months, whatever, and there are any kind of rains that run any kind of water at all. When it's when the ground's not disturbed inside, it kind of just has the.
Now, the question is,
Well, then it's dripped in those seeds. It's kind of, it just has a little bit of a ripple. But you can stop it if you say we're letting this for a couple of years.
is that or not?
Really, you're not asking anybody not breaking that down.
You may need to, if you.
I'm gonna be a lot more proactive.
And turn your speakers
Yeah,
on,
let
make
me
sure I'm hearing, what I mean, and you can speak into it as well. and we can-
Jess, I'm on.
Oh, hey, Zach.
And there's.
Hey.
You were muted, so I thought you were on, but like not necessarily present, I figured you were feeding your dog.
Yeah, I know.
How's everything?
I'm here if you
looking?
need me. What?
How's everything looking and sounding from here?
Your road.
It's sounding fine, yeah. Looking good.
Okay. Good.
Beyond that,
Yeah,
it's on you.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
It's on you.
Actually, if you want to watch it, you
That's right.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, they have.
Well, they'll share
Greener
it.
than I've ever seen.
Oh, super.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll share it next week.
Are you going?
But I just think that, that's, those storms might move a little bit this way.
It could be.
That we might get some rain next week.
Yeah. But some of the roads, where one of my kids lives there, his family, and some of the roads, they don't, they don't mow beside the road. And I don't know why they don't mow beside the road, but I mean, the bushes are, and these are like, 25 mile an hour roads.
Yeah.
Not highways, but the plants come right up to the line.
Yeah.
And it's so attractive, really, and there are no plants.
Sorry. How you doing? Fantastic. Good. I'm Jeff. Nice to meet you, Jesse. Yeah, you did the original plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're here for the public. That's right. Because I don't recognize you as regional advisory committee, so if you want to, feel free to take a seat anywhere in the back. And, appreciate you coming. Thank you very much. By the way, everybody who's here, we actually got the funding both approved because the only reason we invited you guys, the public, is so we could get snacks for ourselves. That's right. Yeah.
You see what time? It's dinner time. I was expecting dinner.
I think, that's why we're gonna make this as quick as possible. Yeah. How are you guys doing there? Good, okay. Melissa and I had just reconfigured this room yesterday and realized someone put it back like it was. We were trying to get those tables closer to these mics. But we could reconfigure that.
Well,
Yeah.
last month, I attended
That's right.
yeah.
So you knew how Fort Valley Center was?
I got a handful of
Yeah, that's the story of what's going on. So here's what I'm gonna do, James,
Oh,
is I'm gonna move this, let's see. Oh, thank you. So that's on the planning and zoning commission. And he always complains about the quality of snacks. Is the sign in just for the committee? No, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, thanks.
I remember.
So, here's what we're gonna do, actually, is we're going to,
Where we had said, say, Melville, it's, yeah. And then again.
I will get you some.
sorry.
And then.
Okay, remind me your name again. Was Ben? Jess, Ben. Jessica, Jess.
It really has, this.
The Arizona Daily Sun thinks that Jess is a cheat.
Yeah.
If you read it recently, but,
So long.
that's okay. Okay, Judy, we are going to scoot your table,
Okay.
this way.
And the functional.
So if you want to grab your stuff off,
County is
I stuff in Jess.
and that can be hard because they conflict.
There we go. You want to give us, almost a scoot some chairs in here. We anticipate at least 80.
You always have.
We follow this one too?
Come on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this, you gotta watch out for this guy, he might.
It's not
Might wait.
It's not on me.
It's.
You respect
It is.
You know, I mean, here we are, we're supposed to be running things,
Yeah,
and we should have human values, and that's, and they are in that plan,
they've asked.
and they have.
So I followed up with an email to you.
I saw it.
I was proud of myself.
Just got back in town.
Okay.
I saw it, and I.
Hey, Frank, I know you. You can't bypass this table. You have to find your name. You have to sign it.
Pardon me?
Yes.
I will.
You have to sit at the table.
Because.
Okay. I know where you're from.
And if you want the snacks.
You're up here in the.
Great. I like that natural structure. And I crazy deals right now for their 69th anniversary.
We can hear
So
you.
that's
Yes. well-
69th anniversary.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, it's just.
Yeah, and they give you a chocolate lemon, like, really well.
You live
So
in.
you sorry.
Hey, Zach, are we gonna be more from a little bit?
With all the background, I can't hear you very well.
Yeah. Which is about knowledge, but like, you know, but all education. The only way.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you're very much better than most of us.
You remember Kelly? She was meeting us y'all, right? In London. Yes.
That kind of been part of the delivery. Eighties for those other
Just sanitation.
Oh, yeah.
So turns out. it
Sometimes too much.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
But I did do this last weekend.
That's the most beautiful section.
So it's only 17 hours. It was also I started at 6 in the afternoon. And finished just before.
You can please sign in, we have a few copies.
No, he said it's zero.
I like it.
Zero, but it's only was not 16. Because that's even more. Looking for the response.
Yeah.
Very for emotional support.
Yeah.
Your shower.
Oh, yeah.
I guess so.
So what was my favorite sheet.
You guys can please sign it.
Yes, I know they do. Yep. So we did the stagecoach with under there, some team that come out for that.
See, I do like, I was trying to set it up where you guys are close to the mics, so that people who are on can hear better.
Yeah, Roger was there. Everybody was there. The whole-
Yeah, guess what? Only because I said that. I mean, I had no other motive. I can't believe it. I don't know.
Well, so I'm doing starting for the sky.
Just love
I
it.
start my tour at 1:30. I know, I learned how to set up a schedule.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
yes. It's
It's great. Public food test, it's very, if we're not gonna call the peanut gallery, like, here she was.
Yeah, right.
So long, so yeah, but I'm right out today.
Switch my next lesson. Okay. I've been in and out all day long.
I just think
How did you vote without coming to the county's comp plan meeting?
then you have to, since that, it's a section that's something probably also. Everybody's so like.
Okay.
People love it.
So you wouldn't have one of those agrees.
And it's like spinning in the air. Yeah, so I don't know if Ken,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the treasurer. So, yeah, so I just.
Well,
I'm not there, I'm participating.
hi, how you doing? Good, good. Thank you so much for coming.
We've had some biggies though.
Grab a seat. There are some classes here. I'll try to sit in the back.
And, well, a week ago, it was over 2 inches of rain. Cat. It rained a lot.
Thank you.
Let's run some water.
Yeah, right, yeah, especially for those who are more.
That's what people for six days.
Yeah, yeah, those were, there is good over the north waves.
Good.
There was some, yeah, there was some good ones last week, and we cut some good water. See, there you go, yeah.
But did you, what,
Grass or something.
there you go, thanks.
Oh, that's what it was. How's your house?
Yes.
Did you get some rain last night, this last weekend? Or you? I will. I think that was Saturday night.
Okay.
Showers all over. And, anyway, I saw it, like, you all over there.
We were down, see a horizon from east to south or west.
Yeah, you know, it's been, I'm gonna make it.
And then it rained.
There's a little mosquito in there, you'll come out.
Thank you. I don't even need to, like, return to that.
Yes. Just, I mean, that, Saturday, I started at 6 feet, and then I went all the way, all that. I started at 6, and there was rain notes, and then I made it off on the dark. I was that like, it was one long, it was. And I just, and then I liked the travel. And I said, anyway,
Okay, whoever gets your next, since Mike's, Mike's gonna say AC. So, I said, you're here for 10 days, and then it was a couple of us, also, you know, 10 days, you know, then there was a whole day.
It looked like it's the video, was the short, the north waves.
Oh,
And it's right there,
okay.
we checked. There's only some that are actually.
Yeah, I was at Red.
And they're only like a particular situation most likely because they're.
Yeah, like, so,
Because when I'm.
you're pretending as a member of the public. Right, okay.
And it's not a big problem that I'm along with this.
Right.
And tell them that I'm seeing the class that.
Oh, okay, okay, this is their second. Okay, this is the first one. So.
But
it's already like a nice tree. And I think Melissa's, so Melissa, that.
So I counted too.
Right.
Yeah, the committee was selected. So, hey, Mike, I got that news for you. You need to squeeze in, and that's down. Mike got his seat, because he's not on the committee, where you gotta take one of these.
Here, Mike, just. We don't like, we're stepping each other's flag every time. I just didn't bring on the kitchen. Oh, gosh, I don't take this meeting next.
We are doing good. Mike, did we has anyone not signed in? Anyone?
No. For a couple of days, so no.
Laura and Tiana, thank you for joining us as committee members online. Looks like that's the only committee members online. Hey, Zach, do we have any other members of the public who have joined us online but aren't showing up on the screen right now as being part of the meeting?
No, just Tiana and Laura are here.
Cool. All right. Well,
Are we going to go?
I think so.
Okay.
So welcome everyone. I'll do a quick little kickoff and the first most important thing to let you all know is, as you can probably tell, you're having to deal with second string tonight, and that would be me. So Melissa Shaw is our long range planner and does a wonderful job as long range planner. She had to run out of town for an unhappy family thing. So she's back towards New Jersey, which is miserable in and of itself. New Jersey, but unfortunately, yeah, she has some family issues that she had to attend to. So I'm the planning manager here, and I get to back up Melissa on a lot of these kinds of tasks, and I know enough about it to at least help facilitate. So thank you for coming. This your first meeting was kind of a orientation and get yourself settled and pick a chair and a co-chair. And this meeting, we've got an agenda for. I'll tell you right now that we have one committee member who says you need to be out here by 7. Okay, and I really see our agenda as we aren't reviewing content this evening, so we're not going to talk about anything that SOC is going to give like great, protest to.
Okay.
Not yet. We're not talking content. We're giving you more background about where we're at and why and how we got here on this process. Several of you have been down this road many times, more times than me in this county. And we will get to that, and there's food, please get up anytime. Everyone knows where the restrooms are out here. Wouldn't surprise me if a couple more people trickle in, that would be great. I know Rose Tohi is our one committee member who let us know ahead of time that she would not be able to make it, so she's an excused absence. But with that, as staff, I am more than happy to say, Mr. Chair, there's your agenda, sir.
Well, yes, that sounds super. Well, let's just say super to see everybody this evening, and sure appreciate you and everybody that's here. In addition to the group. So with the roll call and we have to do anything formal for the roll call other than sign, make sure you signed in.
I can tell you for roll call, if everyone signed in, we only have 2 members who we haven't heard. They may trickle in, they may jump on the line, or they may come in, and that would be your vice chair, Jim Parks, and Aaron Sekaku. And I know Aaron, I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah.
But those would be the only 2. So we have quorum, so they are noted here. So roll call is essentially done.
Well, then super that everybody's good with it. We'll move to agenda item number 2.
All right. Well, and Tiana and Laura, are you guys hearing us okay?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We hear you great. We realize that the audio quality we get from you is pretty good, and we fully realize it. So everyone, when you speak, for the benefit of the people meeting with us online, those are the microphones right here. So if you could just try to make sure speak. I'm speaking a little louder than I normally would. I don't have a hearing problem. I normally would speak more in an inside voice, but I'm projecting a little bit so the people on the other end can hear, and that's where, if you want to look at them when you talk, that could probably be helpful.
Well, both you and Billy are doing a good job of that.
Okay. All right, well, the first thing on your agenda is discussing the scoping workshop. Who was it? Did anyone here attend the scoping workshop? Yeah, I think you did, Mike. So last year, we held a scoping workshop we're at and you guys are aware of this, this is old hat at this point, but the state requires us to update the comprehensive plan every 10 years, and I'm glad the state requires. Hey, Aaron, thanks for joining us. We got one more checked off. If y'all could please sign in right here. And Aaron, there's a name tag for you. You could probably squeeze in between the mic. I'll move back. Okay, if you don't mind, Mike. But we're keeping all the committee members right here. And here would be our other. Okay, we got one more. I know who's squeezing in over here. To be signing in. Yeah, you can sign in. And we've got seats for the public at the back here. We're getting a lot more public than I anticipated.
Goes the snacks.
Hey, bring people in. Eat the snacks. If you don't, I have to take them home.
Those oranges look very natural.
Yes. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
That's okay. We're doing good on time. Well, Mr. Chair, we are as of now fully accounted for. Okay, I know for a fact we have a full house now. Definitely have a forum. So for those of you who just met us, we kicked off an agenda that Chair Billy Carrasco was taking us through the agenda. We did a roll call, and on line number 2 here, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the scoping workshop and the scoping document that came out of that scoping workshop. So pretty wisely, when we kicked off this process for the required 10-year update to the comprehensive plan, we sat down with a group of citizens. I know Mike Mangini, who's on the committee, was involved in the scoping workshop. I know some former electeds were on there. Art Babbitt was on it. Carl Taylor was on it. And we wanted to get some input from people on what's going to be the scope. How can we limit the scope of the update to this comprehensive plan, and what kind of guidance can we get to do that? What came out of that is a couple of products, a scoping workshop summary report, which is available to you if you familiarize yourself with Melissa's documents and how they're organized, where you have access to them. You'll have access to all this information. And we have a comprehensive plan update scoping statement. We'll try to make that succinct to live by. Give us some parameters as we update this comprehensive plan. So we had 35 people participate. They engaged in what we call a SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges exercise. That exercise generated over 100 comments. They're in that report. Let's see, for online comments, there were 6 received from online comments, and information from that strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges exercise really is what generated, that was the genesis of the scoping statement. The grouping kind of in the trends fall into all of these boxes. So all the comments we got, the 100+ comments we got, we grouped them all into these boxes. In the upper left, if we start there, there's a lot of positive comments about conservation values interwoven throughout the plan. Across the diverse community members, as diverse as it gets, we hear that the conservation values interwoven into the county's comprehensive plan are very fundamental, very foundational to the comprehensive plan. That has been the past. That was true for the 15 document. That was valued in the 15 document. So carried through on this update, and we see it as an update to the comprehensive plan. We don't see it as we're throwing the old one in the trash and starting with a clean sheet of paper. We really see it as an update to it. The land ethic and guiding principles reflects a broad and diverse range of perspectives. The comp plan demonstrates the county's wide level of service provisions. So even though those of us who are land use planners, there's a reason we work here in the community development department, where we work with planning and zoning that regulates land use. And then we get the building permitting, how we permit development to take place on property. There's a reason why the comp plan lives within the community development department. And with planning and zoning, we realize that, and we take responsibility. That's actually one of our charges within this department to update the county's long-range land use plans. But we fully acknowledge that the comprehensive plan does demonstrate the county's wide level of service provisions, much beyond what our department works with, if that makes sense to you. The health department, certainly the sheriff, certainly emergency services, many other things that the county provides services for.
Hey, Jess,
Yo.
could you share your screen?
Oh. It says I am sharing.
Okay. Did you press the button on the dongle?
Is it shared now?
No.
I'm not seeing it.
Problem because when I press the dongle, then it goes to.
Oh,
There
you
it goes. There we are.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Thanks, Jeff.
It's a
Sorry to
technical
interrupt.
term, it's in the dongle if you're wondering what we're talking about. Yeah. All right. Good. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so I just want to run you through this. When in that SWOT, your SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, challenges, we did acknowledge that the 2015 comp plan lacks integration in both content, reference, and technical use of the document. It was a lot of stuff all over the place. It could be more concise. It's a pretty big document, and we hear that a lot. It's long. This one right here, let's see, you can see my first right here, this one right here. It's a long document. It's not written for the general reader. So part of what came out of the scoping statement is let's get this to where the average layperson who this may affect can understand it and can digest it. That it doesn't have to be an enormous document. We can get it to where it's a little more succinct, no doubt about it. Probably one of the main issues we all know that will be more emphasized in this comprehensive plan from previous comprehensive plans is housing affordability. We all know it. Many of us live it. So that gets emphasized a lot. This is a guiding document. It needs to pivot. We realize things will change in this interim 10 years. And it needs to be a plan that has flexibility built into it, and consider that that when things change for the county, when things change in needing to make land use decisions, that this document is written as a flexible document that can adjust to those needed changes. It's not too rigid. It is county-wide. It's not Flagstaff-centric. We hear from many people. We hear from some of our favorite board of supervisors members. They remind us on a daily basis. The county is not Flagstaff. The county is vast. The county, and of course, those of you who are familiar with the Flagstaff Regional Plan being updated right now as well, the Flagstaff Regional Plan does plan for the entire regional plan area, which does include the majority of our population in the county, but there are many parts of the county that this plan plans for that are outside of the Flagstaff Regional Plan area, certainly outside of the city limits of Flagstaff. Sustainability in all aspects. Sustainability is a key theme to the county's existing comprehensive plan, and that term sustainability applies to many things. In how the county provides services, it has to do so sustainably within our budget, and then sustainability from an economic, environmental, and social perspective. Plan within county authority. The comprehensive plan should not go into issues. We're just wasting our time when it goes to issues that aren't within the county's authority to plan for, if that makes sense to y'all. Developing, improving, and expanding partnerships. The vast majority of the land in this county, only 12% of the land in this county is private land that falls under planning and zoning for land use regulation. The vast majority of the land in our county is managed by the federal government, national forests, BLM, national parks, and then our tribal partners, Navajo Nation, Hopi, all of the indigenous partners. And so developing, improving, expanding partnerships is huge. The greater ecosystem, the natural ecosystem of the county, the vast majority of that natural ecosystem is in no way regulated by the county. So we have to work with our partners and how do we improve the entire county? And it takes partnership. One of our scoping challenges is to improve a user-friendly format. Make the format easier for the layperson to use, a developer, someone like someone that maybe Mike Longini works with, or anyone here, when they're wanting to develop land. How do we make it more user-friendly to where the average person who's going to use this document, not just have it sit on a shelf and look pretty and say pretty things, but actually use it? How can we make it more user-friendly? We do need to prioritize indicators. We have a need for prioritized indicators and metrics. If we say we have goals, we say we have values, we say we have a vision, we say we have values, we say we have goals, and we have policies to get us to those goals. What are the indicators and metrics that we can determine? Are we reaching those goals or not? So that was a consideration brought up in the scoping workshop. Achieving public involvement. We've done a lot of public involvement. That's more what we're going to talk to you about this evening and so far in updating the comprehensive plan, but it needs to be a living process of how does the public have a say in what the county's policies are. The last item here, future land use map, that was something that was consideration. The county hasn't had a land use map outside of the Flagstaff regional planning area in the past, and it was determined that we're okay without a land use guide. We're functioning well without a land use guide at this point in time. Maybe the next 10-year update, that'll be relooked again. Any questions on this SWOT summary of overall comments and trends? Okay, workshop part 2. Let's see, comprehensive plan update, scoping statement outline. This is the scoping statement outline, what you see on the right. So it's pretty in depth. I can make this PowerPoint available to you, so let me know if you, and I'm pretty sure Melissa's going to put it in the site that you guys will all have access to. So if you're wanting to go back and look at, okay, what's the framework, what's the outline for this scoping statement, feel free to either ask Melissa for this document or look online, and I'm pretty sure she's got it there. So the scoping statement, major project deliverables. The first thing at the top was a public participation plan that included methods to identify the public's current issues, concerns, priorities, and questions about future conditions. So state law, state statute actually requires us, when we update the comprehensive plan, to do a public participation plan as to how we are going to engage the community, the public, to do this process. We wrote the public participation plan. It's available to you to see. And we took it to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a recommendation, and we took it to the Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors had to take an action to approve that public participation plan, and they did. So we're charged with following that public participation plan, and that drove many of the things that we will explain to you in what we have done, the work we've done to get the public's input. We did come up with a project schedule with adoption target date of winter 2025. We all know the old comp plan was 2015. Doesn't seem that old, really. It was brand new when I started working here in 2016. But it's already 2025 is right around the corner. So 10 years goes by quick. And the goal was to have this done within the 10-year time frame. By the way, the state does not have a planning police. Melissa and I talk about this often. the state doesn't come slap us on the wrist if we don't get it done in 10 years. We're supposed to. Let's see, the other major projects, deliverables, we do have new and updated data. A lot of data that we track in updating comprehensive planning goes into the comprehensive plan. We are updating the chapters, kind of the titles and the configuration of the chapters, certainly updating the maps. We're not doing a future land use map, and we're trying to include some graphics that make a lot of sense. So including some new graphics. One of the main graphics we've discussed is there's always a lot of questions about the relationship of the comprehensive plan to other plans. That's caused some consternation. To many of us, it's simple. The comprehensive plan is the county's overarching vision document and guiding document. For instance, the Flagstaff Regional Plan is technically an amendment to the county's comprehensive plan. Now, for the city of Flagstaff, it's their general plan. For the purpose of the county, it's just an amendment. It's on staff, and you guys help us in keeping those documents aligned, that they don't conflict with each other. Likewise, every single one of the area plans, Valley Area Plan, we'll be talking about, all of the Belmont Area Plan, all of the area plans are amendments to the county's comprehensive plan. The JLUS, the Joint Land Use Study that we did with Camp Navajo and the Naval Observatory, that is an amendment to the county's comprehensive plan. There are other documents that are not technically amendments to the county's comprehensive plan, but they do interact with it, such as the county has a relatively new emergency management plan. The county has stepped up their capacity in emergency management. We've had to. We know we have to. HHS does Health and Human Services does every several years they do a community health assessment and they do a community health plan. They'll look at our data when we did outreach to the community, our survey data, our focus group data, and they will use that. So that interrelates. For instance, the emergency management plan and the county's health plan are not technically amendments to the county's comprehensive plan. So I think if we get some graphics that lays all that out, it'll be really simple and people won't have as many questions in their mind about the relationship of plans. Let's see, there is a desire for deliverable of community indicators tied directly to the planning goals, so we can actually monitor, are we working towards our goals? And as we make decisions as a community, as a county, are we working towards our stated goals? And then a prioritized implementation plan. The last comp plan had a 24-item implementation plan. 24 items, that's not that big really when you look at the size of our existing comprehensive plan. The county followed through particularly on the prioritized ones. That implementation plan from the 2015 comprehensive plan was not prioritized. However, we regularly went back to the board with comp plan implementation reports. We did it on an annual basis over the past 10 years. And we got their input and really got direction. So one of the things we did prioritize of those 24 implementation action items was to do a renewable energy ordinance. That was the priority. And the 2015 comp plan made that clear. So we followed through on that. It was a lot of work, but it's a good product. And it went well. We were one of the action items was do the JLUS, do the Joint Land Use Study. We did it. You know what one of the action items was create a long-range planner position and have one of the planners dedicated to long-range planning. We created that position. Melissa went from being a planner, taking conditional use permits every month to planning and zoning commission. And now she just focuses, we needed that focus to have a staff member focused on that. So when we talk about implementation plans and now with this update, we would like to prioritize that implementation plan. And we would see annual reports to the board as relooking those priorities. What do we need to focus on? We're back. Okay. Some of the other direction that came out of a scoping workshop was we need to integrate chapters better, have them better linked and better thought through how they interrelate to reduce on overlapping rules and policies. When we did an analysis of the 2015 comp plan, we actually found that verbatim, we have the exact same rules and policies in the sustainability chapter and redundant in the land use chapter. Going, well, no wonder this thing 250 pages. I'm saying the exact same thing twice in two different parts of the plan. We do want to improve the visuals, make it more user friendly. We talked about that. Interactive maps that provide a county-wide focus and highlight individual communities. We did consider format examples. Two of our favorites, counties that are similar to ours, are Jackson-Teton County and Missoula County. So we looked at theirs as examples. I will tell you, I wish I brought in as a prop, the book that many of us keep on our desks of the county's comprehensive plan. That's almost a last century way of doing a plan. Many of us don't look at paper anymore. It's all online. So we can have our maps better. The maps that go into the plan could be more interactive. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can click on things for data, things like that. Okay, so some of the questions that came up is how can we simplify the plan to focus on key issues while still addressing our very expensive geography, needs of individual diverse communities, and including all residents? That's a real question. How do we create a flexible plan that can pivot, change towards unexpected critical issues as they arise? And how do we identify the indicators? So these are kind of the real questions that came out of that process. Any other questions from you guys on scoping of how we prep for this comp plan update? And we know we have constraints, budget and technical support. Really, it's our staff, and we go out to the greater county staff outside of our department. Public Works is a big source. Health and Human Services is a big source. We can hire a little bit of outside help, and we've had a little bit of outside help, but not much. Many communities with larger budgets, they go hire a consultant. There's consulting firms that do this. There's pros and cons to both ways. We've seen it done. We've all seen it done both ways. But this is the way we're doing it now, and this is what we got. And I'm telling you, the vast majority of the work that goes into this product will be mostly Melissa Shaw doing that work, and I'm your supporter in it, and so I'll be a lot of the backup on a lot of that. Our other constraints, we have an enormous geographic area to work with the county. So there is a challenge of engaging with the full range of residents and getting willingness to participate. I gotta tell you that when we go hold the focus group in Blue Ridge, we get people showing up. We held one in Marble Canyon. We got people to show up. So it's always fun to go out to those places. Man Valley had amazing participation and focus group there. We do acknowledge that as rural as much of our county is, there sometimes limited technology and even just internet access, making public engagement challenging. So in theory, if you live out in Marble Canyon or Jacob Lake or in Blue Ridge, wow, great, you could attend some of our things online. We have that available. However, we don't have to drive hours to get to Flagstaff for a meeting. However, again, many of our rural communities don't have great internet access. By the way, when we're talking about interrelation of plans, the county has a rural broadband plan. And the IT, Information Technology Department, is here in our building. We share this building with them, and they have a rural broadband planner. And they are using available resources, available funding to develop that plan and to help improve broadband access across the county. We know that's the future. That's how people can run businesses. That's how people can get education, is having access. Here's a list of new or refocused issues and topics. There's a lot of them. So I'm gonna leave this here for a second and let you guys look through these. As you look through these, let me know if you got any questions on these, on what we're, what we captured from the scoping process as a new or refocused issue and topic, and I'll do my best to expound on it for you. And Jim will make this available to you. The second one, affordable and workforce housing. We hear everywhere we go. We hear it. You know what the superintendent of schools for the county, she hears it. The health department, they hear, we're the building permitting authority. Every other department in the county hears it. The biggest constraint for the superintendent, or one of the biggest constraints for the superintendent of schools, in trying to hire teachers in rural areas, it's housing for teachers, While we rural areas or in Dilley Park or Chew Village, or, you name it.
Or the cost of housing.
Yeah.
We have educated people that are applying for jobs here, but don't take them because of the cost.
It's tough. Any questions on any of these? You guys are an easy crowd. I'm feeling good about our timeline. Right?
Yes, I got one comment going through this, and maybe it's just more recent, that dealing with the poverty level in our county. To me, that seems to be one that we can change that. A lot of these other things start slowly disappearing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't use the word quick fix or 10-year fix for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've recently dealt with the large employer, and some of the processes will cause the job to not be done.
Okay.
And it's just because it's has nothing to do with somebody says fix. I think a lot of people understand that. It's just not designed that way. The overall governmental authority, basically it says move in major cities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not be an employer, but that leaves us with the lower paying jobs,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe not. Let's put it this way: underemployment.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of underemployment in our county.
Yeah.
You guys have a job, maybe good for a season, 6 months, and then what do they do after that?
Right.
All these kind of talk about how do we fix this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the idea of the poverty level and stuff. We just got to figure it out.
There's an economic development chapter in the plan,
Yeah.
and it's being updated. Yeah. There's a lot of interrelated issues there. Any other questions or comments on the new or refocused issues and topics as they came out of the scoping process? All right. So, Mr. Chair, the next thing we're going to jump into is item number 3 here. You're going to talk about revisioning values, needs and issues identification. That's really what we call the community outreach. How we went out to community members and got input on their vision for the future, their community values, needs, issues. So the picture you see here, that's a lot of us at the county fair. We'll have people at the fair again, and we'll continue to get input at the fair. Although last year at the fair, we were starting at what's your vision for the future? What do you identify as community values? What do you identify as the needs in our community, and what do you identify as the issues? So that's what we were asking them. Now we'll have a little more like, well, here's what we've learned, and how does what we've learned resonate with you? And that's more of what we will be doing at the fair this year. So we'll be back out there. That's our number one. We have more contacts with individual people. The numbers go up on how many individual community members that we got input from at fair. That's our biggest one. It's quick, right? You have people while their kids are running off to get cotton candy or something. You got people for just a second. Not quite our focus group where we sit down with people for 2 hours and get some better quality input. But it's a great, it's a great, one of the many ways, it's diversity of how we get this information. But it's one of the great ways that we do some outreach. And it just gives people an idea, we have the banner out there on the Envision 2045, that's the name of this comprehensive plan. And it lets people know, many people aren't aware, what, that the county has a comprehensive plan, what does that do? That's where we touch a lot of people and give them some really basic education. But we made a really fun, puzzle, I don't know how many of you guys have seen it, of the full county, map. So we took the county map, we printed off, we kind of decided what layers, what color coding do we want on the map. I think we had all of our indigenous nations on it. We had what's Forest Service land, and then the major communities on it. And we put it on the phone for like a thin styrofoam type thing, and then we cut it into pieces and we put it out. And so while we're talking to people, their kids, will try to put some map together. It's a fun geography lesson. So here's our outreach summary. Total contacts through April of this past year, 1,609. And you can see the breakdown on this chart. Almost half of that, just a little under half of that, was at the county fair. With 78 community presentations. We had 400 through a community survey. That was a nice chunk right here. Went to the veteran stand down. We held a open house. Sorry about that. Focus groups, 201. So this 201, that was the highest quality input. That was really sitting down with people and getting some very good input from them. So that's the total summary we've had, 1,609 individual contacts that we've made in the input we've received so far, specifically about vision, values, needs, and issues.
Do you know the Coconino County population?
Yes. The comp plan gives that. Gosh, the county population, I was thinking round up terms because that's how I think. But the county population is rough. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong here. Probably just under 150,000 people. It's not that many people. But we're the second largest county geographically, area-wise, in the lower 48, or I guess in the U.S. The majority of that population, of that if I kind of round up, say 150K is the county's population, rounding up to about 80K of that is within the Flagstaff regional plan area. Okay, of that 80K in the Flagstaff regional plan area, so that includes all of Joey Park, Timberline, Fernwood, all of Belmont, all of Chino Village, Mount Air, all of Fort Valley, Bakerville. That's really where the population is in the unincorporated county. So if we round up and say 80K is in the Flagstaff regional planning area, I'm pretty sure around just under 70K is city of Flagstaff inside the city limits. Joey Park, Timberline, Fernwood in and of itself is a population of almost 10,000 people. It's the same size of the city of Sedona. So that's really where your pockets of population outside of the city of Flagstaff city limits in the unincorporated county is there. Any other questions? That was a really good question. Yeah, Mike.
Why does the city in its master plan include areas out of the county?
That's great. And the Flagstaff regional plan addresses that. And probably a little over 20 years ago, the city of Flagstaff and the county decided that doing a regional plan was worth doing because of all the people who live within the Flagstaff regional planning area, and the map perfectly outlines what's the footprint of that planning area. That planning area aligns with Metro Plan, which is the Flagstaff region's NPO. metropolitan planning organization that every community in the United States with 50K or more population has an MPO, and the MPO is the organization charged with planning for federal money that comes into your transportation planning. That becomes a really big issue. So the city and the county, a little over 20 years ago, agreed, let's do a Flagstaff regional plan within that same planning area that the MPO plans for federal transportation dollars, because land uses within that whole area intermingle. People who live just outside the city limits use some facilities in the city limits. People who live in the city limits may have jobs right outside the city limits, but it functions as a region. So that's why that regional plan, and we're in the process where that's actually what's kept Melissa and I quite busy, quite frankly, is both of those plans are being updated simultaneously.
The reason I ask is a lot of the public transportation we have in Flagstaff is within the city limits of Flagstaff.
Yes.
But it includes the numbers that are outside the city limits of Flagstaff.
Yes.
And those numbers outside the city limits of Flagstaff don't get any benefit.
Well, there's no limit to them being able to get the benefit, and the goal is when populations are, will make it work, that, for instance, public transportation or some form of transit will go to areas where it's needed outside the city limits as well. And Metro Plan is the planning organization for the MPO. Mountain Line is the provider of transit. And if you have a group of people in Kachina Village or Mountain Air, or if you have a group of people in Timberline who wanted to work with Mountain Line to provide a rideshare van, they would do it with them. You have to have the right number of people. So it is possible. No one's taken them up on it so far. There's always been discussion when we update the area plans, the Stony Park Timberline Fernwood area plan, the Belmont area plan. There's always discussion about, hey, eventually we would like to get more public transportation out to these communities outside of the city limits. When the populations get up there, we can. And if people want to work with Mountain Line to do like the rideshare with the van, that option is there.
But how do they find out about that?
Often through our planning process. Yeah.
What I'm saying is these people live outside the city limits, and that transportation plan, public transportation, how do they find out about it? Because most of those areas don't have any organized representation in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm. That gets tough. And I can tell you, Metro Plan in planning for the use of those transportation funds, and Mountain Line in providing transit service, they do outreach. They are constantly trying to do outreach. Right now, we have a project on West Route 66 as it goes through West Flagstaff, past the Home Depot, past, gosh, there's a board facility out there. You get to some new development in the city out there, and then you hit city limits. You get to county. We've got a brand new church that was just developed in the unincorporated county out there. We've got Flagstaff, the Flag Ranch heavy commercial industrial area along Flag Ranch Road out there, and then we have unincorporated residential area, Saskin Ranch out that way. And we're planning right now, and I'm on the technical advisory committee for it. We're planning for the improvement of all of West Route 66, all the way from where it connects to I-40, all the way into where on the west end, all the way to where it connects to Milton on the east end. And that entire stretch is being planned for between the city and the county through the Metro Plan process. And there is community engagement, both city residents and unincorporated county residents who live along that stretch to get input on how can we better improve that road to accommodate everyone. So that's just one example. But good questions, and appreciate it. Okay, so when we did all of this community outreach, the focus groups really, this little piece of the pie right here, was where the quality discussion came out, and that helped drive more of the community engagement. So when we did focus group discussions, we had some themes that came out of the question of what are your community shared values. And these are the three themes, these three. The first, that a vibrant county economy, what we want, or what one of our values, I guess, yeah, in this case, our value. Our value is a vibrant county economy that supports the integrity and sustainability of our rural community lifestyle. Second one, we're stewards of land and the natural environment. And the third one, we are inclusive and respect and honor the diversity of our communities, including all people, their cultures, traditional knowledge and practices through strong community partnerships. So I realize that that's pretty broad themes, but a lot of information went to creating those themes. And these values are part of what's driving this update that you're going to see in these chapters in months to come. When we ask them, what's your vision for the future? The focus groups, when we kind of put together all the information we got from all the focus groups we held, it broke into the 6 themes here that you see here. So we asked these focus groups, what's your vision for the future? And they, all the answers fell into one of these 6 themes that we generated. First one, infrastructure and public services are collaboratively built and maintained in partnership with county communities. Second, open space, trails, public lands, and recreation facilities are accessible to all residents and visitors. Third, visitors to our county and communities are encouraged and tourism is managed responsibly. We heard that a lot. Responsibly managed tourism, mitigate impacts from tourism. The fourth, the natural environment, resources, and ecosystems are resilient, protected, connected, and sustainably managed. The fifth, the county's rural lifestyle and character are preserved and encouraged by appropriate rural scale economic development and regulations that support affordable, sustainable, and innovative lifestyles. It kind of goes to a lot of community, rural, very rural community members wanting to be able to develop sustainable building types on their own property and helping the community work with them on that. And the last one, indigenous cultures are valued and preserved. Any questions on these themes? All right. When we ask in these focus groups, what are the community needs and issues? We broke it into these 7 themes. The first, resources and the lack of county funding to develop and maintain transportation systems, utilities, public services, public and private infrastructure, and community gathering spaces. That's a need and an issue theme. The second, inclusive partnerships and collaboration with public, semi-public agencies and communities to promote safety and emergency preparedness. Third, economic development opportunities and growth management. The fourth, affordable housing that is available countywide. Fifth, accessible public health and social services for improved quality of life. The sixth, tourism, marketing, education, management, and impact mitigation. And the seventh, sustainably managed and protected natural environment and resources and mitigation of impacts from climate change. Any questions on what came out of the focus group discussions on community needs and issues?
Excuse me. Yeah. One issue that I think I've seen identified in some of these documents from the scoping statement on would be a modification of number 1 there. You know, you list resources and the lack of county funding to address a number of these needs and issues. But there's also the regulatory constraints, for example, from the state. And I know that's mentioned elsewhere, especially with regard to water management, and also to some degree short-term rental management. But another one there would be renewable energy and community energy choice. Some of the energy availability and energy generation possibilities that are currently quite restricted thanks to statewide regulation. So just seems like maybe in addition to resources and lack of county funding, you could also acknowledge regulatory constraints from outside the county.
Thanks, Laura. Got a good note on that. And by the way, we're recording this meeting as well. All right, no other comments on that. Future trends and themes. Your future trends themes, the things that came out of the question to focus group members. What do they see as future trends that this plan should prepare for? Obviously, embracing new technologies. That's a very broad statement. Preparing for the impacts from climate change, demographic uncertainty, economic uncertainty, or economic insecurity, and housing affordability, public service, water and transportation infrastructure improvements, tourism growth impacts, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those are the future trends. That was a grouping of 6 themes from that discussion. Any questions on these?
I got a question.
Mhm.
This is about time. I'm wondering, and especially back to that other slide where you had the resources and lack of county funding. What, is there a time limit? Can we develop a time limit for doing these things that are within the focus group? Is there a timeline?
Yeah,
It seems nebulous to me. That
right. Right.
we're just, I mean, we've got some kind of goals here. Are we going to get a time limit on when they can be done? Are we going to form a type of well, I guess a timeline for these things, or is this gonna just kind of continue on and on forever?
Well, I can tell you this is a theme that came out of the question to focus group members, or what do they see as community needs and issues? So that theme number 1 it came out of those discussions was needs and issues included resources and the lack of county funding for these things. I can tell you that the comprehensive plan is not necessarily going to drive resources for these. Some of these would fall into the county's CIP, the capital improvement plan possibly. But when it comes to most utilities, we realize there's a need out there for utilities, particularly in certain communities that are truly lacking water infrastructure. However, the county's not a water provider. So, and those are identified as needs and issues. And yeah, we're just taking all the information from those focus groups, full well knowing that what comes out of the plan, probably, for instance, is not going to include the county becoming a water provider. We don't see that certainly within the 10-year horizon. So that's just identifying the needs and issues and taking what people say. And yeah, we don't necessarily know that all that these needs and issues that we're identifying in the outreach process, asking people what they think the needs and issues are. We full well realize that that doesn't necessarily mean that the county's plan is going to be able to solve that need and issue. Many of those needs and issues are decades long standing and very well understood. and very well understood why the county can't necessarily, in and on its own, solve that problem. However, possibly there are partnerships, that can solve some of those problems. Water improvement districts where people can choose to create their own drinking water improvement district. We have areas where that's happened. So does that help answer the question for you?
Yeah, pretty much. I think that I'm sitting here thinking that ultimately it's the county board of supervisors that would bring any things from the focus group to forward and provide an answer.
This is a wide net, and often with people who aren't fully aware, like, hey, the county's never going to be a water or wastewater utility provider. That's not going to happen, or certainly not, not within the window timeframe of this plan. And those people who've been around the county for much time at all, particularly within the county organization, say particularly over public works, would know, like, yeah, the county, that is not within the capacity of the county. However, if we get a group of property owners who want to band together and create a drinking water improvement district, we got a way to help you do that. We can help you do that.
Yeah, Katrina Village did.
Exactly. Create a fire district. We have so many areas out in the county that don't have fire districts. Yes.
So maybe in the plan, there's a sense of it's a hub space for the partnerships.
Right.
Essentially.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the county's striving for, so here's an incentive.
Mm-hmm. And this is going to drive those policies for the entire 18,000 square miles of the unincorporated of the county. However, it's going to be area plans. They can get more specific. And where we do have communities, many of those communities have area plans. It'll be the area plans that will then take a broader goal and policy direction from the comprehensive plan, and they can get more specific when they're within their area plans as to how they can accomplish resolving some of those needs and issues. So it is a nesting plan. And I realize we work at particularly at the comp plan is at the very broad vision, values concept, but it has to start somewhere. We have to be able to say, what is the county's vision and values, and how do we start narrowing that into what the county's policies are and how it's going to put its money where its mouth is. Yeah. Any other questions on this one? All right. Solutions. I think this is a bad idea. Melissa thought this was a brilliant idea. Don't ask people what they think the solutions are, because they're gonna have crazy. They want light rail from Munns Park into flight like that. So that's not gonna happen. Like, that's a cool idea, but it's not that. So here's the solution. So I'll give you a second to read the themes that how the themes broke down into all the information we received from the focus groups. What did focus group members see as solutions? And they are broad. It's not a lot of specificity in here. I think, Ryan, what you were talking about, this number 2, you probably did that. Is it a place? Is it an organization? Is it both? I don't know.
It solves a problem.
Yeah. Any questions on this one?
Just up there, the county had in the past, back 20 years ago, they were able to sponsor Sunnyside. I don't remember the exact name of the Sunnyside Association with block grants.
Right.
And that was a huge positive thing for Sunnyside. I don't remember what the procedure was, but the city couldn't do it, but the county could.
Okay.
And so they agreed us with the association in order to get those block grants.
Right.
And Sunnyside changed dramatically. Infrastructure, the street improvements.
And that does fall within what used to be a separate Community Services Department, and I even remember who the director of that was when it was still its own separate department.
I don't remember either.
But now that is wrapped up into, so you're talking about CDBG, Community Development Block Grants, that process, that system falls within HHS, Health and Human Services. Within the county, yes, yes. And for a reason, HHS has their own grant writer. Actually, she's on our team helping us update the comprehensive plan. So HHS as a department very much thrives on finding grants and getting grants. Right. Our department, we're P&Z and building permit. And I'm glad to know those people are there and direct people over there all the time. But they're the ones who really work with a lot of grants and how we can help communities help themselves. Okay. The last thing.
Why are the public comment section?
We're not yet. I realize this is pretty free flowing, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Wait till the end okay, well, we can wait till the end. We reserve a little time then. The last thing we asked the focus groups was how can we engage your community? We didn't put it all here, but what we were looking for is as we continue the comprehensive plan update process and just some good ideas from the focus groups and of course they were held in very diverse areas. How can we continue to engage your communities? And we got a lot of good feedback on that. Mostly it was do regular outreach. And I know some communities have an annual pancake breakfast and they tend to schedule it, make some time when maybe their second homeowners are there. And I know, say some of our elected supervisors have made it real happen to get out to those, run some staff with them on, okay, let's go talk to people. What do they do? I have a public works person here. We're talking to them about their infrastructure out there, usually road infrastructure. We'll have a sheriff's office person. What input can we hear from people as we get people together? So we did hear a lot of, hey, get out of the office, come out here to the more rural communities and engage more. So try to have more of a presence in those more rural communities. But as they are unofficial communities, unincorporated communities, much like Mike was alluding to, there is less organization unless you have an HOA in some areas. There is less organization, which is where sometimes grassroots organizations start cropping us and like, hey, we're a community out here. We need to get people together. Some old longstanding communities, and Oak Parks has some good groups. When you have a fire district, amazingly, that brings people together because you got a fire district board. You have a facility where people can meet. So often in many communities, I know out in Downey Park, Timberline, Fernwood area in general, it's fire district and fire board meetings. Those same facilities are used for what do they call it? Are they community watch meetings? Those are a regular occurrence. So so each community starts getting their rhythms of how they get people together, how they start creating community, and then how can the county use those naturally occurring community activities to get information. We all know there's religious groups, churches out there. We get together. We have many ways. It's just a matter of continuing to find ways to engage, and that's really what we heard a lot. Heard a lot of when we asked the focus group members, how can we continue to engage your communities? Schools. I got to help with focus groups. Well, we held one at the Star School, but it wasn't the students. But we did ones at a couple of schools in Page. That was great. Asking kids. Might as well be asking a kid who's a high schooler right now. They want to stay in the community. They want to stay living in this county. What do they see for the future?
Mormon Lake has really great community engagement.
Yep. And you got fire district
Participation.
Yeah. We find that communities that have a fire district, they're taxing themselves in the fire district. They have a fire district. They have shared risk. And when it comes to forest spending, forest health, and the other things that impact their community, the risk of their community, and that's where, and we can get some of the areas that don't have fire districts right now. It might take some, state legislation, change to make it easier to create a fire district, but if we could create fire districts in some of our areas, and the ones I really think of is like Red Lake and the Valley. We would have more community and just, less risk, honestly. Yeah. Okay, following the focus groups that were staff led, all right, and you're looking at part of who went out and did focus groups. Melissa really, really managed this whole process. We came up with these themes that we talked about, and to make sure we really heard from the entire county, we hired local vision LLC, Fred Sullivan. Is the guy who runs that. He's a professor at NAU. He does surveying as a profession. We hired local to take all the information that we gather, those things from the focus groups, and do a county-wide statistically valid survey. So they did a survey of 400 people who all lived in the unincorporated county. They did not live in any city limits, not the city of Page, not the city of Williams, not the city of Flagstaff. And they asked them questions about vision, values, needs, and issues. And what we were trying to do is confirm, okay, the people who chose to come to a focus group, which is a select type of person, many of you are those type of people, we got our input from those focus groups. We broke them into these themes. How about when we go ask just the average county resident and ensure that we are representing age demographics, we're representing all of our background demographics, men versus women, that we get out of those 400 people, the statistics of who was asked accurately represents the unincorporated county geographically across the country. And we asked them questions and basically discovered that the answers we got back from that survey pretty well aligned with what we heard from the focus group. So that was good. So there's no big changes there. So when we say we've had input from the community, we've done a check on the input from the community. It's pretty valid. Telephone survey, and they went to a lot of sciences. How do they verify? Hey, with a phone survey, with all of us now have a cell phone, none of us have landlines anymore. How did they verify they were getting the people that they were intending to get? And they asked people, do you live in the city limits? No. Okay. And next step. Are you over 18? And went from there. So again, it was 400 randomly selected. Actually, it was over 400 because they had to whittle it down to 400 that accurately represented the county's demographics. Both landline and cell phones. They say the margin error is plus or minus 5%. So 95% confidence level that this represents opinion, outlook from community members. Yes.
How did you select the numbers for getting?
Good question. They have a process for that. Yeah, honestly, the 400 was based on what the county was, what we were able to budget. They could have done 1,000, but it would have taken longer and would have been more expensive. Yeah. So we did start off with something pretty simple. This was the first question. What of the people, of those 400 responses, what do they like most about living in Coconino County? When you look through these, I think it all resonates. Environment, the largest single one. Second largest tie between lifestyle and climate. Of course, this is taking a lot of information and kind of breaking it down into something that's understandable. So when we say lifestyle, we're probably thinking dual lifestyle. Access to be able to go out on horse, on trails, go out hiking, do the things we want to do. So those are things, well, and there's a separate outdoor recreation one. So this is what people like most about living in Coconino County. Most important issue. 35% concurred that managing growth was most important issue. Drought and water availability, 26%. So certainly it's measurable concern with drought and water availability. Infrastructure, 22%. Affordable housing, 14%. Wildfires, flooding, and then of course the post wildfire flooding and cost of living. Those are the most important issues. And then to the right, you can see a breakdown of how many people considered that issue number one, and how many people considered it issue number two. When we asked them about community values, this was asking about, do these community values resonate with them? Would they concur that's one of their community values? It was a 1 to 5 scale. You'll see even our lowest one down here is 3.06. So most people concurred that these aligned with their values, and they saw this as a community value. And you can see those there. Access to clean air and water at the top. Natural environment, pretty darn close after that. Effective response to crisis and disaster. Access to healthcare, good roads, education, preservation of a rural lifestyle. That was kind of a theme that really went through a lot of the info we got. Affordable housing, always heard that. Economic opportunities, outdoor recreation opportunities. Having a close-knit community, a lot of people really value having a close-knit community. So in unincorporated areas, we definitely have people who consider their community close-knit. Cultural diversity, that's value, and a strong tourism industry. When we ask, do you share these values? All of these listed across the bottom were the majority of people shared those. And we went from definitely share right here to somewhat share. Do not share, there's very few that do not share, and of course we don't know, a minuscule. The only one that had kind of a measurable do not share was inclusion and diversity within our communities. A lot of times there might be confusion on what does that really mean. So that one was a little bit measurable and do not share, but still 53% of respondents said, yeah, they definitely share that as a value, inclusion and diversity within our communities. And then you see, pretty similar to the last slide, what the other values were across. I mean, very high, 89% said definitely shared healthy forests and decreased wildfire risk. Protecting the natural environment right down from there, 86%. So, the majority of these were, we're looking at over 80% of people saying, yeah, I definitely share that value. So we feel like the direction we went with this did resonate well with your average citizen who answered the phone. Vision for the future. What do people see as their vision? Top response included environmental protection and sustainable growth. And went down from there. So infrastructure and transportation, affordable housing and cost of living, economic development and jobs, governance and participation, being able to be involved, community and cultural preservation, healthcare access and quality, education and public services. So that's when we ask people about their vision for the future. That is what we heard most of. Support for program investments. 94% support. 94% support investments in reducing risk of wildfires and flooding. 90% support investments in affordable housing. Connecting pathways, that would be, that's generally considered maybe your pedestrian, bike, equestrian pathways. Having connected ways of getting places how they like to get to those places. 80% on public transit, 80%, so they support investment in getting transit more accessible. That's good enough. So, Mr. Chair, that gets us kind of through item 3 of what we've heard from community. Again, anybody want to say food? I don't want to take all this time. Doing pretty good time, right? Doing my best. Okay, last thing we really want to go through with you is item 4 here. The what we are seeing as the plan structure, and then a review schedule of when we anticipate bringing new chapters, right? So here's how I'm gonna be very vulnerable with you guys right now. Melissa put this together as those of you who came in late. I admitted to everyone here, you got second string tonight. First string is Melissa. She's the long range. She's the long range planner. I'm the planning and zoning manager, so I get to back her up when she has to go out of town. And she did this in a color here. So our basically our main sections that we would divide what we are seeing kind of the plan organization going into is this color right here. What is this color right here? Oops. That font right there. Anyone? Orange. You know why I don't know what that color is? Because I'm colorblind. Yes. So normally, if I put this together, I'd say like, well, in the orange, you see the yellow, but I'm registered colorblind. That's why, sir, that's why I ended up in the Army. When I did my freshman year in Air Force ROTC, they're like, yeah, you can just go talk to the Army. Yeah, we'll make an Army engineer out of it. No problem. Colorblind filmmaker. So in the orange here are what we consider the main headings or groupings or possibly chapters. The first one, we really like this term, quality of rural lifestyle. A vibrant county economy that supports the integrity of our rural community lifestyle. Then broken down into that is economic development and housing. As of right now, our concept is to include housing planning in with economic development. Land use growth and development. That's always, our goals and policies for land use are really pretty fundamental to the county's comprehensive land use plan. Circulation and transportation. Over here on the right, we're telling you what does Arizona revised statutes, what does state statutes say we have to have. Economic development is optional for a county's comprehensive plan. We've always had it, so we will maintain economic development. Land use growth and transportation, yes, we are required to have a section on land use growth and development. We are required to have a section on circulation and transportation. The next section we see is stewards of the natural environment and sustainability. We are stewards of land and the natural environment. For the subcomponents of that, sustainability, resilience, energy, and climate. The state statutes do require that we have a section on energy and energy use. Water resources, yes, state statute requires us to have a section on water and planning for water. Natural environment, yes, we are required to plan for our natural environment resources. Parks, recreation, and open space, that's optional. County, back when we talked earlier in this discussion about the nesting of plans, the interrelationship of county plans, there is a separate Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan that the Parks and Rec Department and the Parks and Recreation Commission oversee, and that was just updated within the past 2 years. But Parks and Rec staff is working with us on this one. So we let that be the Parks and Recreation plan. It's more detailed, but there is a Parks, Open Space, Trails and Recreation section plan for, and it has traditionally in the past been within our comp plan. The last one, diverse communities and services. We are inclusive and respect and honor the diversity of our communities, people, and cultures through vibrant communities connected by partnerships and county-wide services. And the two section subheadings we see under that is diverse cultures and community character that is not required by state statute to be in a county comprehensive plan. And the last one, community services, public safety, and partnerships. That's what we'll talk about in that chapter, a lot about the various county services provided, particularly on public safety and partnerships to help accomplish those goals. And that is optional by state statute. So any questions on the major headings in the orange and the subheadings of how we anticipate organizing this comp plan update? This is what we see. These are our draft chapter titles along the top here. And here's the dates. We plan to bring them to you guys to review. So the first one we are working right now. As a matter of fact, I've got it on my desk for my edits. The Sustainability, Resilience, Energy, and Climate chapter. We anticipate bringing that to you at your next meeting. All right. Melissa's goal is to get it out to you a week ahead of time. Some of you know how this goes. Scott knows how he gets the Planning and Zoning Commission packet a week ahead of time. So he has, because he had nothing to do that week, all he wanted to do was read that packet. So that's what we plan on doing for you guys as well, is get you this chapter ahead of time so you have plenty of time to review it and show it at this meeting, and we're going to talk about it. So what is your, as an advisory group, what would you advise on moving forward with that draft chapter? And then you see the schedule across here. The last one we anticipate bringing to you would be at your meeting in December. And our goal here, it's a goal. We can work with it. We all know best laid plans, don't survive the first punch. So if we have to push, some of this plan out, it's okay. But we would like to stick to this. We'd like to have, by the end of the calendar year, having each chapter reviewed by you guys. Make sense? Yes. Okay. This highlight right here with the asterisk, let's see. Oh, this is both next month. Next month, we had planned on you guys meeting the third Thursday of the month. Next month, the third Thursday of the month, myself and Melissa will be in Tucson at the Arizona APA, American Planning Association Conference, where we have to get our credits, so we can keep putting the little letters AICP behind our names. So we are looking at having your meeting next month on the 26th as opposed to the 19th. If you could please make note of that. You probably know what a good job Melissa does in doing outreach to you. You might be tired of it, I don't know. Emailing you and getting a hold of you, but she will give you plenty of prep. And we anticipate your meeting next month to be the 26th of September, not the 19th. As we will be enjoying ourselves in Tucson at a conference, getting our education credits. So everybody good with that schedule for next month? Laura, Kiana, you guys catch that? Are you good with that meeting next month on September 19th? I can promise you, Melissa will give you several reminders.
It's on the 19th, not the 26th.
I'm sorry, the 26th. Yeah, it's rescheduled. Instead of the 19th, we'll be in Tucson on the 19th. Instead of the 19th, it will be the 26th.
So that's gonna pack me in 2 nights in a row, right?
You and I both, John.
Yeah, that's fine.
Guess what? You know, Chair?
Just I'll be on the 26th.
Okay.
An anniversary trip of my wife.
No problem.
If there's no further questions regarding on the public comment, there was a question.
Absolutely.
So there are
Okay.
questions.
So, Mike, no problem. I'll make a note to Melissa that you anticipate not being, if for some reason you wanted to attend online, you did, but I mean, if I was out of touch celebrating something, background would be.
I won't be here on the 26th either.
Okay.
I'll be up in Allen Island.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know about I might be able to zoom in and see.
Yeah, we'll still have four. We're gonna get Rose back here next month since she was our only, this is pretty impressive. I mean, for a citizen group to have one who let us know ahead of time, she wouldn't be here, but for the rest of you guys to be here is I'm impressed. Super.
Is there a possibility to move it to 5 p.m.?
I will ask the boss.
Okay.
We're all for it. I mean, we're here.
Next time I start meeting at 8:30.
Yeah.
And
There was
I might let Melissa do that kind of like a poll to send out to you guys if 5 sounds like a better idea. Okay. With that, Mr. Chair, if we're going to open.
Did you give us questions? You had?
Yeah. Where and when and how do you have these focus groups?
They were held, gosh, I'd love to give you the time frame of when they were held. But we kind of came up with a plan that public participation plan that was approved by the board of supervisors. We targeted out certain places on the map of where we would hold focus groups, and we had a schedule of where we held focus groups. So they were held really up through this past spring. Was when we concluded the focus group. So the focus groups gave us that initial information that then went into that survey. That's just one step in community outreach. As we drafted, first off, all of these meetings are open to the public, and we continue getting public input. And we will have, once we have a draft plan together, we're gonna have an open house and invite the public to come review the draft plan and get more public input on it then. So the entire process involves community engagement, public input throughout. Don't want people to think the public input's over, so it's continuous.
Okay, because you remember about it,
Right, it was, 150,000 people, we couldn't invite everybody. But good question.
You have it written up, or you're gonna rewrite it? Are you going to rewrite this? With more public input?
We'll continue to take the public input and include it in what we're considering as we really get to the meat of the plan, which is goals and policies, or the county's goals, or the policies to enact, to further those goals. Any other?
Yes, have you, linked people or issued people with goals and functional guidelines?
I'm sorry, I said again, sir.
Have you issued or given a link to the committee, the goals and policies guideline?
Oh, yes, the existing one, yes. Yeah, it's we call it the cheat sheet, for the comp plan, yes. It's the slimmed down version of the comp plan that is nothing but goals and policies and the implementation, the 24 implementation action items.
I would suggest as part of this process, enhancing that a little, making sure it's got a table of contents, and each goal and policy has the page number. I know there's pressure both in the city with the regional plan and here to make the document smaller, but really, if you've got that 20-page goals and policies and document and it refers to the big book, you can refer to the big book and read all the stuff behind the goal and policy. And, it's a big book, but you use the little book, as P&Z commissioner, that's what I use. And then I can refer back. So if we can make that really effective with lots of references.
Kind of exciting source.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if we go on the website, can we see all the slides here without having to go through the entire recording?
Yes, I'm gonna say yes, and I'm pretty sure that Melissa has already anticipated, anything that we do, anything she puts, heck, if she made a product or something, might as well let the gift keep on giving and put it on the website so anyone has access to it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So with the review of these chapters that you're talking, they're going to be reviewing and constructing basically, then being presented for review and then implemented to some degree. You have a tentative goal of having it done by the end of this calendar year. I'm curious, what will be the rest of the 10 months of next year that you have available to you in order to be complete? What are you gonna, what is that process going forward after you've gotten these chapters reviewed and, I guess, tentatively implemented?
Very good question. I wish I had a slide on that. But the next process, once we have a draft plan, in all honesty, we're leaving ourselves some flexibility there to wrap up the draft plan. We will have open house apostrophes S, possibly multiple open houses. We would like to get some geographic disbursement of holding some open houses, so we can hold them in some other parts of the county, so it doesn't feel completely flex absence, right? So we'll hold open houses, we'll get more input at those open houses. We have a state required 60-day review that we take the draft plan and we put it at our website, that we do notice in paper that says county's comprehensive plan update is draft and available for public comment for 60 days. That's a requirement, and then we go into public hearing process. We're going to do some study sessions with the Planning and Zoning Commission. Planning and Zoning Commissioners are appointed by the elected Board of Supervisors, and we're going to do work sessions with the County Board of Supervisors. Get their input on the whole thing, talk to them about it, help them understand it, see if they have any input. They got to approve it. Those study sessions and work sessions are open to the public, and then we take a public hearing. So it will go to the Planning and Zoning Commission in a public hearing for their recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, and then we take it to the Board of Supervisors to final, final access for the Board of Supervisors to approve and adopt the county's comprehensive plan. So that's the goal, to get there. And if we do it right with public engagement, with your input, when we get to those public hearings, for actual action, recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission, approval at the Board of Supervisors, the community at large, and all that, like, yeah, I think it represents what the county wants, sees as a vision for our future. That's the goal.
Nice.
That's why we need you guys to get started.
Further questions?
I think the other questions that I had are probably going to be answered through the process of being engaged in the process and reading the things that come out, chapters and all that, all the different info about the question that I had, most likely be answered in that process of reviewing and being engaged. So thank you for your time and your incredible explanation on all the information that you guys collected.
You got second string, buddy.
Quite awesome. Okay, so great.
We appreciate public showing up. This is a public process.
How can I help to engage the community? To share the information?
Give people, get on the email list, for this process. I don't remember how big most of the email list is now. People will know when's the next comprehensive plan advisory group meeting. When is the draft plan available online?
Posting it on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. So just get people involved, get them on our list. When you're coming to these meetings, have people check our website. And if they want to participate in the meetings, certainly they can. And they can watch. We have reserved per you all's accepted or approved meeting guidelines. If you come to this meeting, you can speak. If you can observe the meeting online, but we're not going to take comment from the public online. But yeah, these are available. If somebody just wants to observe, great. If they want to come and make comment, we would love for them to be here, and we'll have some fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is having community members or other people find ways to get them in touch with the information that's already being presented that you guys should have available, and then formulate questions from that information that they gathered from their own integration into the comprehensive plan, and then bringing that forward into theory or in times like this, when they have the ability to have voice, have that with you. Trying to come into an understanding of everything in the moment is not part of this. Absolutely. It's a vast, it's just getting your head wrapped around what is the comprehensive plan. Right. And what is the guide is, it's a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Yeah, we did. Sure. How about we move to adjourn? Super.
See y'all next month on the 26th, not the 19th. And what's more like you?
Maybe get those.
Yeah. Workforce is tomorrow. Then we have a board meeting and the president of the Homeowners Association. I'm telling you that in the airline seat,
Great.
an unincorporated community actually. Things push for me to go on.
Yeah.
Good question, good question. Really, I think we're based on the.
Listen to it.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that one was.
I know it's so great community. Fire.
I keep talking about Marshall. You're further away.
We don't see them.
See.
That's right. That's why
We
I
can't
can't
have
talk.
it without you. Even some supervisor.
Yeah, it's the most of it, you know, so.
Yes.
That's what's just.
No, there's no right. So, Jerry, hi.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, but.
Cameron, we got that morning said.
And you sent that to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I think basically we feel that is okay, so from the last round.
We had the meeting.
This
They
update.
just change a few words, just it would make sense to have some.
Yeah.
And the other one is,
Actually, I just kind of had gotten out of the
Basically.
Owners Association. We were like, over. And I was at the meeting where he realized so that I could,
Well.
yeah, it was a number word.
I'm not a community member, and I wouldn't necessarily.
What could drive?
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's.
$1 million project.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Asked by the secretary.
Yeah.
By the voters.
He wanted to
And the hospital still have, where are
Just
and,
and,
Yeah.
so like,
what's the best, what's going on?
Yeah.
Unless you know it's better.
I talked to my counterparts in the city, but yeah.
So my understanding is.
Oh, my God. Oh,
He looked at the law and he told
oh,
the
my,
city
yeah, there's.
that we can't touch that.
There is a county health department. There's board of supervisors who is the county health,
Well,
board of health.
one of
So
the.
that's the
So
organization.
they.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not to say they couldn't.
So that-
complain, so they might not.
Yeah.
Prescriptively.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think they still have one.
So that leaves the county
Well,
with
you know,
the responsibility.
their granddaughter.
This city hospital, it's, again,
It's a regional hospital, has to be located in the city, so it's kind of extremely well, the way planning and zoning works. It's in the city,
Always.
so planning and zoning decisions are made.
between these two,
City process.
Yeah.
between these two entities, neither one of which says, yes, that's mine.
I don't think they'd ever.
We're letting the biggest continue to be a fancy.
I bet you.
Imagine that city
Oh,
of Wayne still has 200 acres.
Yeah. We need a hospital.
Yeah.
And if you think about the regional hospital, it was a really serves the region. And
Imagine if Winthrop, or imagine if,
that'd be awesome.
imagine if.
I wanted to look at this.
Century.
Yeah, because that's what the city does, quite frankly.
And that's the attitude, exactly,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
both sides.
Guess what, not only nation needs a hospital.
Well, they.
Put it there where it's. Yeah, they have their own rules in it.
Yeah.
So we've got both of these entities you kind of passing the buck.
Yeah.
And so I just support this proposal.
But the same, we all feel the same needs.
To have a healthcare commission, but one way or another, we got.
That's 23 years ago.
Yeah,
We'll
see you next month.
that's what we get. I would say, I mean, I know what you're saying, I mean, I mentioned on the board of supervisors, when they say, right, that, put on their, what is it? Good seeing you. When they come to health board, when the county comes health board, I would say like, is that under purview? I mean, good seeing you.
I mean, just tell you, if you ever need an example of an unincorporated community that develops, some maybe said to you, I've seen this in Forest Lakes.
Oh, I will, absolutely. Thank you for those things. Yeah, yeah, I've been to Forest Lakes, yeah,
You know, one of those things we just had developers.
absolutely.
Well, I came from Tempe to here to tomorrow we'll go to Forest Lakes. So we're kind
Yeah.
of, we're
Yeah, Forest Lakes is an interesting place, and I think you're fortunate in that you have partners.
We have the fire district
Yeah,
and
which is huge.
and then our owners association created that.
Yeah.
About 50 years ago.
Right, yeah,
And then maybe 40 years ago, we worked to get a fire district.
yeah, exactly, exactly. All those things that communities have to have, and that's because, I mean, you had an HOA, it was a better done development. We have a couple of examples, that we know well in the county where a subdivision was done in the late 60s or the 70s, where the developer didn't do it, didn't even build roads, didn't do any of those things, and just started selling lots. And there was no plan, and that's why it's impossible to have a water district, a fire district, because there's gazillions of people, there's lots of people who don't know that there's a lot, they die. You're like, it's a mess, it's a mess, yeah, But it is a good example, yeah, so that's where we need to try to help communities on, okay, how can you become more of a community here, take this thing you got, and make it more community,
Yeah. So it was interesting when you mentioned, you know,
Yeah.
or something.
You guys are lucky to have it, yeah. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I would, not my area, I mean, healthcare planning is really not something that planners typically.
Okay, but we would be going to, so we're just gonna let it cruise along the way. It's good. That's pretty scary.
I would think that the county board of supervisors, when they act as the board of health or the health district, because it's a health district, that's an taxing district, it's a health district board, I would think.
They are the health.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch their hearings, they actually, they have an agenda on every county board of supervisors hearing, where they close the hearing, they're the jail, they are also the jail district.
And who's
They are also
the head of that? That's somebody at the head of the health department.
The health district, well, HHS, Health and Human Services, from the staff side, was Kim Musselman, and she's now deputy county manager. So now it's Michelle Axel. And so they would be kind of, my equivalent to you guys, as staff who's doing P and Z, work. She would be the equivalent to the health district board, where the board of supervisors acts as the health district. But I really think it should start with how do you do healthcare planning? When you have a population,
We don't have
healthcare facilities, right?
That's why we have the biggest healthcare
Right,
in history.
right. Yeah.
Nobody's talking to anyone,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying, that
I think because it was a city P and Z issue, probably the board of supervisors didn't want to. You know what I mean? But I heard what it comes down to, the community, the region.
I'm not asking.
Yeah, the region needs healthcare, obviously. And the comp plan makes it broad for full costs. Yeah, we need help, of course we need healthcare. I mean, be crazy to think that the community can survive without healthcare, right? So the region needs healthcare. Is that really something that the.
Well, it's gonna be something,
county-
and the city says it's not us, and the county says it's not us.
I don't think the county says it's not us. I think the county says we can't make land use decisions inside the city limits. I think that's what they're saying. Yeah. Okay.
It's about communication. I tell you, in my personal life, in the last year, I've had 3 doctors, either mine or my wife's, say, just out of the blue sky, yeah, go by and get x-rays over at an age. God, I hate the hospital.
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah.
My son is ER doctor, Sam.
Uh,
I'm laying on the gurney. Because ER doctor, working on me, my son is involved because he wants to know what's going on with me.
yeah,
It's on my phone on my chest.
yeah.
His ER doctor says, Santa Fe, aren't you guys at the private practice there? I said, well, yes. Well, listen, I want to call you because I'm not happy with what's going on. Well, I'm waiting there.
Looking for a better place to live. He's like, okay, so I can ski and mountain bike there too, right? So.
You do a job interview.
Wait, and the enchiladas are amazing? Done.
You do a job interview with my son while he's supposed to be saving my life.
That's funny.
So nobody's
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's,
We gotta get somehow we have to
yeah.
rationalize, because right now, you know, they've let.
I would be interested, you know, when, yeah, this is why some of the most, I don't know if that has already looked into this or not.